Um, when you look at the game last week, probably one of the things that I'm pleased with is our guys were able to overcome some early adversity. Thought our sideline did a really good job of staying locked in. Thought our players, Tim Keenan in particular, did a really good job on the sideline. Had a conversation with those players afterwards. I kind of brought them and talked to them about how we need to handle things, and then right after Tim got them all together and thought, said the right things at the right time. Right, great leadership is great messaging at the right time, and I thought our players really responded well. Obviously the rushing yards in the first quarter, we had some unacceptable situations. We had two errors. One was a misfit, if you will, just not taking the air out of your gap. And another one was we didn't have a defensive lineman that slanted properly and gave up two explosive runs. We got to create more overlap in the defense in those situations as well. But certainly a nice job the last three quarters from defending their run game. Starting the second half, going a 4 and out and a 3 and out, I think was huge. Kind of set the tone for the second half, and then only giving up 3 explosive plays to our 13 explosives that we were able to create as well. So some of those things are good. We have got to start the game faster on a more consistent level as a defense. Twice this season we have not started games fast. That when you play in the SEC, you cannot let other teams take the momentum early, and then you feel like you're fighting your way back. Credit our guys in the way that they were able to fight. But certainly something that we do not want to build a consistent habit for. So those things have to get fixed. Good teams continue to get better as the season goes on, and that will be the challenge to our guys as we face another good SEC opponent on the road. Missouri is doing a tremendous job right now, particularly on offense. They've got a very potent running game. They've got 2 running backs that are as good as anybody we have seen the last year and a half here. They break tackles, they're physical, they can make you miss, and then when they get in open space, they've both shown the ability to create explosive plays with their speed. So they present a number of challenges in that regard. I think their quarterback is operating at a very efficient level right now, completing over 75% of his passes. They do a great job of mixing in their run and pass game, and they're very complementary in their play action game and make things look the same as well. And so certainly there's a lot of great things that you see from their offense. It'll be a great challenge for us. It's a faster week being an 11 a.m. kick. And so, some of those late games that you get on Saturday, you get an extra walk through some of those things being on the road, the time to travel. So it'll be a great challenge for our guys to turn the page to another great SEC opponent. So looking forward to the week ahead and having our players ready to go on Saturday.
Thank you, Coach. Let's start with Chase on the far left.
Yeah, 2, if I may. One, I want to ask you about London Simmons. Made a couple plays against Vanderbilt, but really didn't get a whole lot of snaps, so it was kind of a flash there from him. And then also with Missouri in terms of their block, and what do they do up front to spring Ahmad Hardy that y'all need to deal with in practice?
Yeah. I thought, London continues to show up and does a good job. When you're going in a game where, you have some early adversity, like we talked about, you want to try to keep, your older experienced players in the game. And certainly, when you look at rotations, there's times where our offense did a really good job of staying on the field. We won the time of possession battle, and so typically you're just naturally going to have more of your starters in the game. And so, Tim was doing a really good job in that situation, and sometimes you're just not going to pull him out as much. But London, certainly, when you go back and you watch the tape, has earned the right to get more playing time, and certainly this week I would imagine you're going to see more snaps from him. When you look at Missouri's offensive line, I think they've got great scheme. Drink has been running kind of that outside zone scheme since he was at App State. Does a really good job with it. They are able to create seams in the run game through different variations of zone scheme, and they've got some gap schemes that are pretty good. They do a nice job, and their backs, they break tackles. I mean, rarely does the first guy get either one of their first two backs down, and so you gotta swarm to the ball, you gotta gang tackle, you gotta be physical, you gotta put screws on screws. You know what I mean? We talk about surface area being a huge piece to efficient tackling. So if you tackle a big back on, with just your shoulder, and you don't put surface area body on body, you're rarely going to make the play. So those are things that we've got to do at a high level on Saturday.
Go to Charlie on the right side.
I know you kind of talked about their run game a little bit, but just with Ahmad Hardy specifically, what stands out about his game?
Yeah, all the things that I just said. I think he's a fantastic back. I think he is very physical. I think he has great patience in the run game. Does a really nice job of making either the first guy miss or breaking the tackle. And then when he's out in space, he can create the explosive play, which, ultimately any great run team, when they're committed to running the football, it's like body blows in a boxing match, right? And those body blows continue to hit, and then all of a sudden you create explosive plays, and that's what they've been able to do efficiently to this point in the season.
Go to Nick.
Yeah, the second half against Georgia and Vandy, I think a total of 7 points that you guys have allowed over those two games. Has there been a common theme in terms of adjustments, or what has been the key there in terms of those adjustments at halftime each time?
Yeah, I think, especially early on in the season, you get a feel for what a team is trying to do. So they've put a body of work on tape, but then specifically for you, for our team, how are they attacking us? And I think, our staff has done a really good job. Our players have done a really good job of taking, really since the Florida State game, of taking the adjustments that we have made on the sideline and at halftime and applying them to the next drive and next series. And if we'll continue to do that, we will make it hard for people as the game goes on, right, to be an efficient offense. And so that's something that we're doing a really good job right now. I think the level of communication for our team, especially being in year two as a defense, just the understanding of coaches is very seamless when we get in there at halftime. The adjustments, we're very efficient with it right now. The communication to the players goes out through position coaches, and then I bring those guys all in and kind of give them the overarching theme. Again, hit the high points, the things that we need to make sure we defend so we can make people play left-handed. So whatever it is that they show, we are going to make sure that we take away those top 1, 2, 3 things in the game and then see if they can beat us with option 4, 5, and 6.
Go to Katie on the left side.
Justin Jefferson was named SEC Defensive Player of the Week. Just what did you see from him on Saturday, and then really how have you seen him take advantage of this extra year he was able to get?
Yeah, certainly, I remember when it was sometime around maybe Thanksgiving or something like that when we found out that he was going to have a chance to be eligible. Maybe it was later than that, actually, when I think about it, maybe in December. But that was a special moment. I remember calling Chuck Morrell, at that time, and that was big because we were looking for linebackers out of the portal. In fact, I think it was December. But certainly we were all excited, and I got a chance to call him and let him know that he was going to get to come back for another year because you knew he was going to affect, have a great impact on our defense, in this season. And certainly, Saturday was a great example of that. Justin has a great feel for, just instinctive tracking. He can track the ball really well. And then obviously, he's a very physical player. He is a very fast player. He can create, he can take space away out of ball carriers. Did a really good job. We work creating takeaways every single practice at the beginning of practice, and you talk about a textbook. You show exactly what he did in practice that week and exactly what showed up on game day of stripping that ball loose. Well, we do that over and over and over again, and it's just so rewarding, right, for those players to be able to show that, hey, it showed up on game day, right, in a very critical moment. And so very proud of him and the effort that, that he's bringing and the energy he's bringing to our defense. And I think, he'll continue to build off of those things.
Let's go to Joe in the back left.
Coach, what makes the shovel pass such a challenging concept to defend?
Yeah, it is. It's a really challenging concept. I mean, we got hit on it last year against Vanderbilt. It showed up in a couple of different games last year as well. Florida State tried it against us, and we were able to knock it out in that situation. Some of it is there are certain calls that are better against the shovel, and some that aren't. And it's a challenge because when you get teams that run shovel plays on third down, you almost have a decision to make with your defensive ends. Are you just gonna play on the line of scrimmage and not try to affect the quarterback? Or are you gonna do certain things, to try to, create some overlap? We had I think one of the plays, we had a chance to be able to defend it better than what we did. One of the other plays, I thought I made a really tough call for our guys in that situation. But it's a play. I've told you guys this before. Whatever you put on tape, you're going to have to answer for, right? And that's a play that we're going to have to continue to answer for. We work it probably more than we should. So it's disappointing that we gave 2 of them up. But at the same time, you kind of have to ask, what are you willing to live with a little bit? And I'm not saying that we're going to give up shovels for the rest of the season. I'm okay with that, all right? I don't want our fans hearing that. But what I do want our people to understand, right, is like you have to affect the quarterback. And our ability to affect Diego Pavio is what won us the football game. And so sometimes, right, you're going to have those situations where, their counterpunch to that was a shovel play every now and then. We got to do a better job defending it. But certainly there's going to be times where you got to make sure you keep the main thing, which is affect the quarterback in the passing game.
Go to Colin, front left.
Hey, Kane. Well, when you look at Missouri and game plan, what kinds of things carry over in terms of defending the run? Like, whether it's against Bo, option play, things like that. What kind of carries over? What are you encouraging your guys to look at?
Do you mean like from the first 5 games to what carries over to this game?
I'd say from specifically last, like what worked last week in run defense heading into.
Yeah, gotcha. Well, I think anytime you defend like 1+ quarterback option style systems, right, where the quarterback has a chance to, run the ball, there's an element of discipline, right, that you have to play with across the board. I think our guys, took some of the mistakes from the first quarter and applied it to the last 3 quarters of the game from a run game standpoint. There were some schematic adjustments that we made that gave us a chance, that we were a lot more disruptive in the run game as well. And so those are some things that, you want to create some overlap of the defense, and you want to, let our guys go play really fast. I didn't think at the beginning of the Vanderbilt game, as much as we stressed it, talking about playing physical, playing fast, not playing on our heels, we still, that first drive of the game, I did not think we were playing very aggressive. I didn't think we were playing very fast. And so, I told our coaches, like in those situations, like put the iPads down, take your headset off, and let's make sure that we get our guys playing really fast and physical. And that was, even Tim Keenan doing an example of that. And so when you look at the run game, a lot of it is just the physicality that you have to play with. And I think that's one thing that I want to make sure we keep on the forefront of our players' minds. We will make adjustments. We will have game plans going into each week and what each opponent in the SEC gives us. But at the end of the day, the physicality and violence that we have to play with is the reason why we were able to knock out the run Saturday, and that has to continue.
All right, let's finish up with Alex right in the middle of the room.
Sab was able to make a play, obviously, on Saturday. With Sab and Lawson, given the extended amount of time they were out, what have you sort of seen from them as we've gotten further into the season as far as where they are? Yeah,
I think you look at both those guys, they're continuing to take steps in the right direction. There is an element to, I said it a second ago, good teams get better. Good football players get better as the season goes on. And certainly when you're coming off of an injury, there is a certain level of adjustment period, right, and getting back into the swing of things. I like, Keon is playing at a faster level week in and week out. Deontay, all the communication pieces. Sometimes he doesn't make the play necessarily, so it doesn't show up to you, but to our defense, structurally, all the things that he gives us from a communication standpoint, anticipation, alignments, and getting our guys in position to go execute. I think he's doing that at a really high level right now. And so, I'm excited about those 2 guys. I'm excited about a number of guys in our defense. But whoever continues to take steps forward will be the ones that, that stand on top of the mountain at the end, right? And those are the teams that ultimately put in the work and the preparation the week of practice so that they can show up on Saturday. And that's certainly what we got to do, getting ready to go to Columbia, Missouri on Saturday. All right, thanks, guys. Roll Tide.